Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is a big day for Burgles Brewing. It is my first grain to glass video. So yeah, I know I said in a earlier video I probably wasn't going to do any grain to glass videos for a myriad of reasons, but here we are. I'm going to try it. I've done review videos, I've done brew day videos, so let's throw them both together. Let's see what happens. We'll see how you guys like it. We'll see how I like it. So yeah, like I said, the brewing space isn't great for doing mic'd up work and brewing at the same time. If you watch the brew in a bag tutorial video that I did, you could kind of tell like the vent fan over my head, the mash and boil with the lapel mic. I wasn't happy with how the audio turned out, so I'm not gonna do that. Also, you can see this is corded, so it gets stuck on things when I move around. So I'm taking a little inspiration here from Steve, the apartment brewer. If you're not watching him, go check out his videos. He does a lot of grain to glass, some other cool videos. It's a good channel. You tune in to watch that. But anyway, so I'm gonna take a little inspiration from that. Now he lays his out. He kind of goes through that first intro, and then he does some extra into editing. Sorry if I get this wrong, but he does like some B-roll or just some footage of his brew days and kind of does a voiceover of that, and then goes in and summarizes the tasting afterwards. So I'm gonna do a little bit of that. So you're gonna see me give this intro here. I'll do a voiceover of the brew day, some of the clips that I have. Then I'll review the beer at the end. We'll see how it goes. But so again, we'll give Steve two shout outs because the recipe that I'm doing in this beer today is a little inspired by I think it was called the A Train. It was his juicy hazy pale ale that he did with Voss. So it's a little inspiration on that. It's not the exact recipe, but kind of that. Basically, he did a big ol' pale ale, did a lot of Whirlpool hops and kettle hops, and hit it with Voss and got a big juicy character out of a Zaka. So that's what we're doing today, but I switched it up a little bit, but here we go, we'll get into it. So this beer today is a Hazy Pale Ale, and basically what I did is I stepped this down from my normal hazy IPA recipe, which that recipe is normally 10 pounds 2-row, 2 pounds flaked oats, half a pound of carapils, and a half a pound of honey malt. So in this one, to step it down, I did 9 pounds of 2-row, 1 pound of flaked oats, and 8 pounds of carapils. I kept the carapils the same because this I'm expecting to get 70% mash efficiency, which is going to be about a 5.5% beer. So I still want to keep that body in there for the hazy, for this type of beer. If you're gonna throw this many hops at it, I kind of wanted the body so it doesn't get like aqueous or too light or anything. Yeah, so I think looking at it now, that's roughly like 86%. Now roughly 85% 2-row, 10% flaked oats, and about 5% carapils. So super simple, not a whole lot going on there. Hops, I'm gonna hit it with kind of a. This is kind of a little bit of. I did a Smash IPA series a couple years ago just to do it, and I kind of did like I didn't really want bitterness. I just kind of want to see what the flavor hops were. So I did like a 15-minute edition, a 5-minute edition, and then just a Whirlpool edition, and a dry hop. And this one I chose not to dry hop, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But so this one I just did a half an ounce of the Zaka and a half an ounce of Citra. I had 10 minutes left in the boil, and then I did 2 ounces of each Zaka and Citra in a Whirlpool for 20 minutes at 170. So no dry hops in this, even though it's a hazy. So this kind of recipe is kind of twofold, right? Got a little inspiration from Steve, but also I kind of want to test out my Whirlpool and see what I'm getting out of it. I've been doing a lot of hazy IPAs over the last year or so. I've also been using the Whirlpool in a lot of other beers just to try to get some hop character out of those. So I was really curious to see what I'm actually getting out of the Whirlpool and if it's worth it. Because I've done a light lager recently where I just threw, so like 3/4 of an ounce of Sriracha Ace in at flame out, and I got a ton of character out of that. So I'm really seeing here what I'm getting out of my Whirlpool edition. No dry hop either. So again, just testing the Whirlpool, but also with those Kveiks, you're Oh, I didn't get into that yet, but I'm fermenting with Voss. So when you get there, I always get worried that in the summer here, my basement stays around 80 degrees. So am I gonna dry hop there? I don't really have a good way to cold crash and keep it at that temp without doing ice packs and water baths and all that for days on days and not very efficient. So I opted to go with no dry hops, A, for that reason, and B, to really, really push the Whirlpool and see what that's going to give me. So that's that. I'm going to mash this at 154 degrees. Again, try to keep a little more body in this since we're dropping the ABV down for a pale ale. And then, like I said, we're going to do Voss, and we're just going to chill it down to like 90, 95, pitch it, and just let it ride at room temp the rest of the way. What's left to go over? Yeah, I've gone back to mashing for like at least an hour just because the way I do brews at night. I've gone back to that just because it's easier for me to put the kids to bed, do that, just let the mash go until I can get back to it. So I've been getting a little bit better efficiency lately doing that. So like I said, about 70% efficiency. We're looking at a 5.5% beer. Water profile, here we go. I bought a cheap RO filter off of Amazon. It's been working pretty well for me. So far I can tell, my beers have been coming out good. Especially ever since I dropped trying to use a pH meter because that thing was shot after a couple brews. So I've gone back to basically trusting the RO filters giving me what I think it is, and trusting Brewfather is getting me to where I need to be, and the beers have been coming out great lately. So water profile in this one is about 140 chloride to 50 sulfate with about 100 parts per million of calcium also. So going really heavy on the chloride to sulfate for the hazy character. So for me, that was 6.5 gallons of RO water with 5 grams of calcium chloride, 2 grams of gypsum, and I added 4 milliliters of lactic acid to drop the pH. So that's it. Pretty simple, really go. So also, along with kind of experimenting, testing out the Whirlpool, all this, it's the middle, it's late July when I'm brewing this, so it's been hot. It's been crazy hot here in New York. I'm sure the rest of the country. So I wanted like a hazy IPA, but I didn't want to go up and go. I've been brewed a lot of those with like 6.5%. So I want to go something a little lighter also. And I feel like I didn't want to go like session hazy because a lot of those I feel like get way too like watered down, aqueous. They're thin, they're light, they're 4.5%, and they still hop them like a hazy IPA, and you just get like this bitter hop tea like character almost. And there's no body to them, even though they're hazy. It's just a light beer. It's not very pleasing. So I went, let's drop, instead of doing a session hazy, let's do like a hazy pale, and try to keep it like, 5.5%, give it some body, give it some backbone, and just, let's not hop it like an IPA. Let's hop it like a pale ale and just make it hazy and see what we get. Get a nice drinkable beer with some fruity, hoppy, nice hazy character to it. So yeah. Let's not drone on anymore. I've already gone 8 minutes with this intro, which is a lot longer than I wanted to go. I know I make my videos way too long for a lot of people to tune into, but without any further ado, we'll get into the brew day here, so stay tuned. Alright, at this point my strike water has been heated to 160 degrees, treated with all my water salts and lactic acid. So I'm going to dump a little bit in at a time and stir to avoid those dough balls, make sure everything will flow correctly, get all the sugars out of it. Then, as you see here, I'm going to bend down to my controller, drop it down to 154 degrees, and change the element down to the lower element on the mash and boil, so making sure not to scorch. And then, like I said, we're just going to keep pouring a little bit in at a time, and stir to avoid those dough balls, and then I'll let that rest for about 5 minutes before I start the recirculation. Alright, as you see, we got a nice little steady flow going here. This is about the flow I kept it for the whole 60 minutes. I stir about every 10 minutes until the last 10, leave it and just let it sit. Now we're going to go into me pulling the grain bag. Got to take all them binder clips off to keep the bag in place. Hook it up to the carabiner. And then we'll just pull it. See here, I struggle with this a little bit, but, not too bad. So my pulley isn't exactly the strongest, so as you see there, it helps if I lift with one hand and pull the pulley with the other hand. These pulleys are really meant to hold things in place, not really pull, so it's better when I lift and pull at the same time. It puts a lot less strain on the pulley itself, so works a little bit better. Now here I am, make sure I don't burn myself, putting on my nice heat-proof gloves, and I'm just going to squeeze the living crap out of this bag, as you can see here. I'm just going to keep squeezing and get every last drop that I can out. And then, yeah, that's really that. I take the bag afterwards, after I'm done squeezing, and I move it over a bucket and just let the rest drain out. And if I'm missing a little volume, I'll add it back. If not, I'll just dump it. So that's that for the mash. All right, this is the start of the boil. As you can see, a little hot break, a nice little rolling boil, especially for 120 with the mash and boil. I still get a pretty nice boil. Right now is the 10-minute addition hops going in, a half ounce each of Azacca and Citra, and then some yeast nutrient. Then I'll just stir a little bit here, get inside the hop spider, try to make sure that's not going to clog so we can get those oils more evenly distributed into the kettle. All right, now it's time for the Whirlpool. Into the Whirlpool goes 2 ounces each of Citra and Azacca. I let that go at 170 for roughly 15-20 minutes. Every 5 minutes or so, I would take the hop spider and move it up and down, kind of like I do here. Help keep it not clogged so much and make sure that we're getting those oils into the Whirlpool. All right, after the Whirlpool's over, I'm racking into my sanitized SS Brut bucket. Don't fear the foam. And now right here, we got a nice little hydrometer sample. And as you can see there, it's nice and light, straw yellow, and hazy, just what we're going for. All right, after I chilled the wort down to roughly 95 degrees, I pitched the Voss Kveik yeast. This is the next day, fermenting at around 90 degrees, which it did about the whole time. And here we go. This is just a little clip of me kegging it. And now we have the nice pour here. You can see the lighting in the garage isn't great. We can get it up here and get a little better color, but this is the pour that you're going to see me review in 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, and we're back with the finished product here. Here is the Hazy Pale Ale. Tried to get a little shot of when I first poured it in the garage to show you that it does pour with some head at first, but you can see it fades pretty quick. Like I said, it's been about a minute and a half since I poured in the garage and came in here to record the review, so you can see it. The head's pretty much gone, but the lighting there is not very great to really get a good feel of the color. So let me try to get it up here. So, you know, hazy, can't see through it, which is good. That's what we're going for. The color here, what I see in most lights, and in my opinion, is more of a straw color, like a light straw, pale haze. It's coming off in this lighting a little more yellow, little almost like a golden hue to it. But in person, it's more just like a light straw color. So that's good. Color's right where I wanted it. I think it's a little better. So this is opposed to my normal hazy IPA recipe without the honey malt in there. I think the color is much more on point with where I want my color. So I'm very happy with the color. I was very happy with the brew day and how everything went. Hit my numbers, hit my efficiency, was aiming for 5.4%. It hit 5.5 based on my calculation. So a little higher OG, a little higher FG, but because of the way the calculations worked, I got 5.5 instead of 5.4. Honestly, not a big deal. I mean, that's still pretty spot on. That's consistent, what you want as a brewer, as a home brewer. You just want consistency, to be able to rely on what you think you're getting out of it. So that was really cool. Because I've been having a little issue lately, not with numbers and efficiency, but with when I plug what yeast I'm using into Brewfiler, it says it's going to get down to like wherever, and sometimes it doesn't. So I've been having a little issue, especially mashing this at 154 for it to still drop to 10-12. Very, very happy with that. Can't complain. So anyway, before I drone on too long, let's get into like actually reviewing the beer. So we'll go in here. Like I said, there's the color. You can still see there's a little bit of head on top there. It's just kind of got that nice little white layer. So it's very carbonated. This has been about, I don't know, it's been about 3 or 4 weeks since this has been keg. So we're probably going on almost a month since I actually brewed it. So, but it's still holding up. It's not like long in the tooth. It's not fading or anything. It just, for full transparency, I didn't Kveik it, try to go 7 days grain to glass and review it. So as far as aroma, not a whole lot there. And like I said, without dry hopping, it's kind of, I think, to be expected. And with the rate at which I hopped, I don't think, I mean, you really want to get in there. I think I get mostly some citrus. I'd say since I looked up the descriptors of, you know, Azacca and Citra, it's like lime zest to me. A little bit of lime, a little lime zest on the citrus end, and maybe a faint hint of a tropical fruit, and I'm not sure which one. I don't think either one of these is supposed to give off pineapple, but that's almost what I get. And I don't know if pineapple and like a guava or something like that is similar. That's what I get. So we'll go in now for a sip and see how this goes. Yeah, so as far as like a mouthfeel goes, it kind of hits for a summer beer. It hits a little bit for a hazy. It's not super creamy, but it's definitely, there's definitely some creaminess to it, but it's not like super heavy creamy. It's got probably a medium mouthfeel. Maybe a little bit. It's probably about 12 psi, so maybe like slightly overcarbonated. So like when you swallow, it kind of like washes off pretty quick, even though it has like a medium mouthfeel. But I think the flake dough, it's the caterpillars, they're holding up well in a 5.5% beer. It doesn't feel watery. Like it's got some body, but it does feel a little bit light. But that's kind of what I was going for with a pale ale at 5.5%. So yeah, mouth feels right where I want it for this beer. What I was going for. So we can get into taste now. Well, taste not overwhelming. And again, you might expect that, I guess, with just doing a 10-minute edition and Whirlpool, no dry hops, to add some extra, you know, zing, some brightness to it. But again, and the taste is just following more in line with the aroma. It's a little bit. I do get. I'm getting like lime zest. I don't know why. I haven't gotten this out of Citra before or Azacca. I've read the descriptors on Yakima Valley hops. It says Citra can give like a lime character, and that's what I get when I first tasted this beer fresh out of the keg. That's all there was. Oh, excuse me, sorry. That first like week and a half, it was just like lime zest, and I was like, oh, this is weird. I'm tasting a citrus character, but I don't know what it is. And then I had to think back to a brewery around me does a cashmere bomb, hazy IPA, which cashmere is supposed to give off like crazy lime, and this is almost right in line with what I tasted, and that kind of makes sense for me. But it is backboned by some nice like fruity tropical character to it, and it's hard to describe. I can't put my finger on any one. I don't think it's like a mango. I don't think it's pineapple. So maybe like a guava or a passion fruit like underlying. Maybe even like a different type of melon. Something like that, and it's hard. And maybe even could be stone fruit. I'm not great with the fruit descriptors. We could say why I'm not good with those on a whole. We can get into that whole thing, but yeah. Yeah, it's gotten so much better. I would say the first week and a half, this was carved up in the keg. It was a little green, even though there's no dry hops. It definitely had maybe a little bit of hop burn. I don't know if it was hop burn. It just needed to mellow out because with the Voss fermenting up there like it did, like I think it blew off. Like I just think Voss and Kveiks in general, when you ferment them high like that, they just ferment so hard it blows off a lot of the aromatics and maybe even flavor a little bit. because it's fermenting so hard. I've noticed too with Voss in the past, when I use it, that it does mute the hop characters a little bit. I think it tends to more like malt forward beer styles and tends to push the malt a little bit more from my experience. I think maybe that's why people like it for hazy IPAs and things like that in general. Because you can see, like I said, there's no dry hop. I did use a pound of flaked oats, but this is hazy. I mean, like I said, it's a month probably in the keg at this point. And it's holding the haze. It's not dropping out or anything. It does have that good, nice mouthfeel. And I think maybe the Voss lends to the hazy style because it gives you a little bit more malt, a little bit more of that push a little more of that fruity hop character instead of like the bitter, piney resinous characters. Yeah, it's good for Hazy Pale. I mean, I don't know really what to expect. I don't know if I've ever had that many of them or one that I can pinpoint to what I was expecting. But I think as an experiment, I don't know if I'm getting a whole lot more out of the Whirlpool than I am just a flame out edition. I don't, like I said, only way to really test that is to run this back and try with just doing a 10-minute in a flame out instead of doing Whirlpool. That's the only thing I can think of really that would test it, but and maybe not use Voss. Maybe not use that. Maybe use just a normal like hazy strain or like 001 to test it. But I was jonesing for something hazy, something fruity, but also kind of wanted to test a little bit at the same time. So it was kind of an in-between beer. Like I wanted to use it as a test, but I also wanted something. So I'm caught in between it being a success and trying to pull out what I get from it and being like, oh, I wish I had more hop character. Because I think when you just look at, an American Pale Ale to like a regular American IPA, it's kind of stepped down, a little more malt forward, a little less hop, pushing that. So I think in terms if you put this next to a regular hazy IPA, I think it would fit the bill. Like, oh yeah, this is a step down version, like a pale ale would be to a regular IPA. I think this would be the counterpart. So I don't think it's a failure in any means. I wish it had more hop. I wish it was more hop forward. And again, like I said, it was a limitation of what I was doing, trying to test the Whirlpool and only using Whirlpool hops. So I think if I was to, at this point, it's a month in the keg. I'm not gonna add hops to the keg. It's crushable. It's drinkable. It's very good the way it is. But I do wish it was a little more pungent. That's just personal preference. Yeah, it's definitely gotten smoother, more mellow as it's gotten in the keg, which is crazy because I mean, 4 ounces in a Whirlpool at 5.5% beer. I don't think that's a whole heck of a lot, especially if you're not using dry hops. I only used 1 ounce at 10 minutes too, so it's 5 ounces total. That's kind of 5 ounce total is what I use in like a normal pale ale when I'm gonna do like a 10-minute edition flame out dry hop. So I don't think it was over hopped or anything like that. So all in all, it's good beer. I'm pleased with it. Like I said, just wish there's more hop character, but that's the limitations of what I was going for with this, and you can't really be mad at it. I can't be mad at it. Like I said, I hit my numbers. Brew day went off. Again, we avoided disasters by, no infections. Didn't screw a beer up by making it too bitter with dry hop or mistiming dry hops or whatever like that. So there's another good thing to it. But like I said, yeah, I think, if I was to make this again as a staple or part of my, rotation to make a hazy pale, definitely put an ounce or two in a dry hop. It maybe back off the Whirlpool so it doesn't get too over hop. But who knows? I could test that out and put the same recipe together and dry hop it. I think to really test what the Whirlpool is doing, I think running it back and just doing those 4 ounces in a flame out edition instead of not Whirlpool is the best way to test it. I don't know if I want to commit to that yet, but I'm leaning towards it at this point. So, like I said, all in all, it's good beer. It hit on a lot of things that I wanted it to hit on. It's given me a good indication of what I'm getting out of the Whirlpool, which is, I don't know if it's a whole lot, as opposed to a Flame Out edition. Not that it's not giving me a lot in general. I just think as opposed to a normal Flame Out edition, I don't know if I'm pulling a whole lot out of the Whirlpool. And that could also be because I'm using a hop spider. I went back and forth on it, but because I use the mash and boil, the pump gets clogged really, really easy if you don't confine your hops in something. Especially if you're trying to do a Whirlpool or something, or use the pump after boil. It's a nightmare, at least for me. That's in my experience. I have an extra brew bag that I don't use anymore that I could kind of convert to using for kettle hop editions, which I might either try that next or just the Flame Out edition next. I'm not sure which one. One of the two will probably be the next iteration of this to figure out what this did. So probably brew within the next week or two, and maybe I'll run this recipe back and try that just to see. Oh, excuse me, sorry, carbonation. Again, like I said, not a whole lot wrong with the beer. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, actually. Just personal preference, more hop. And that's just kind of how I am, hophead. I just want more character. If I'm getting a hoppy beer, I want the hop character. So yeah, that's gonna probably be it for this one. Oh Jesus, I'm giving you guys a long one again. My apologies. Here we go. I don't know why I can't keep the review short. I just like to ramble and ramble and ramble. So that'll be it for this beer. You want to check out more of what I'm doing, catch me on Instagram at Brewing. Same thing. You want to see more of what I'm up to and some other cool people are up to, check out Brewtubers.com. We're an online homebrew club. We got good people, good times. We have a Discord. We got lots of cool things going on. If you just want to ask some questions, check us out. You want a group of like-minded people, you don't have your own local homebrew club, come check us out. We got lots of cool things going on. We have a hop experiment coming up. We also have gotten our hands on some Phantasm, the new crazy thing in home brewing, or the brewing world taking it by storm. If you don't know what that is, check it out. We're probably going to do an experiment with that also, an unofficial club experiment, but it'll be cool. Check it out. There's a bunch of us going to just kind of brew with that and see what it does. That's it. Brewtubers.com. Check us out. You see this right here. It's a Super Smash Bros. T-shirt, kind of spoof on the awesome Nintendo 64 game Super Smash Bros. For all the 90s kids, everybody out there. If you like that, we got a couple other Nintendo designs. If you're a 90s Attitude Era WWE fan, we got some merch theme like that. We're trying to step up our merch game, so go check that out. If you wanna, like I said, cool shirts like this, go check us out. We got some cool stuff there. Like I said, trying to step up the game. Check us out. And again, to all of our awesome sponsors, I put it in the card at the beginning of the video, but Yakima Valley Hops, Beer and Wine Hobby, 5-Star Chemical, Imperial Yeast, and Brewers Hardware. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. You know, it means the world to us. It's awesome. So, like I said, it's been fun. Until next time, cheers.